All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome from wherever you're joining from to our Salesforce Admins webinar today about being a builder. This is all about leveraging your app builder. This is a great feature that we have in Salesforce to innovate amazing solutions for your company. Before we get into the presentation, as with every Salesforce presentation, we are going to read you the entire forward-looking statement. I'm kidding. We're not going to read it to you. This is just a reminder that we are a publicly traded company and you should only make purchasing decisions based on currently available features and functionality. So now with that out of the way, let's talk about what we're going to do today. So we've got some incredible experts that are going to share their knowledge with you. We have Eric Jacobson, who's our VP of Product Management here at Salesforce. He is all things app builder. He has helped build this from scratch, he and his team. And then we've got Michael White, who's an incredible customer from Verix Imaging. He's a senior Salesforce analyst, and he's going to show us some incredible app builder solutions that he's built for his company. And my name is Jillian Bruce. I am a senior admin evangelist here at Salesforce. My job is to empower, inspire, and enable people like you to do incredible things on the Salesforce platform. That's why I'm thrilled today to kick off this webinar for you. So we want to remind you that you should connect with us. So we are on all the social channels. You can get a lot of our amazing content, blogs, podcasts, webinars, all on admin.salesforce.com, in addition to past webinars. And I want you to get social with us. So if you're on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, there are ways to connect with us. Highly encourage you to. We've got some fun stuff on there. It's a great way to connect with the rest of the community as well. Speaking of the community, we have a recording that is happening on this webinar, so you'll be able to share it and go back to it if you missed it, if you want to share it with your friends. This is a great way for you to go back and get these resources. It will be available at admin.salesforce.com and also at the event page that you use to register for the webinar. Give us a day or two. It takes us a while to edit the video and get it uploaded. And while we are in the webinar, don't wait till the end to ask questions. So we have a group on the Trailblazer community called the Salesforce Admin Webinar Group, very hard to find, it's a place for you to ask questions real time during this webinar. We have experts standing by to see what questions you're asking, try and get those answered. If we have some time at the end of the presentation, which I think we will, we'll do some live Q&A as well. But go ahead and ask your question in there. It's a great way to get information and share it with others. So with all of that out of the way, let's get into the meat of the presentation. So first we're going to hear from Eric and see some amazing highlights for App Builder, what's happened in Spring 18, some incredible new innovations coming our way. And we're going to talk to Mike, and he's going to show us how he's built an app to replace a manual process at his company. And then it's demo time. He's going to show us a real live demo of what he's built to help inspire you to build amazing things with App Builder on your own. All right, so with that, I'm going to kick it off to Eric. Take it away.
Awesome. Thanks, Jillian. Hi, everyone. I'm thrilled to be joining you. I'm actually live to you today from New York City. I'm in town for our world tour tomorrow, so get to join you from the Big Apple today. But let's talk about some App Builder highlights. Some exciting things happened in Spring 18 that I want to make sure everyone knows about and can fully take advantage of. First off, we continue down our journey of building out and enhancing the components that are available to you inside the App Builder. The one that I'm really excited about for the spring release is something new called the accordion component. So if you've come to love the tabs component that you can put onto record pages that allows you to horizontally divide the page up and see different sections of components, you can do the same thing now vertically with the accordion component. It allows you to expand and collapse different sections of components there to be able to see different sets of information. It's a great way, for example, to organize content that you perhaps are placing on one of the side regions, in particular of the console layouts. And speaking of console layouts, we've introduced a new feature called pinned workspace regions. So if you're building a console application and you want to be able to see some information consistently from one sub-tab to the next in a workspace, pick one of the new Lightning page templates that has a pinned workspace region, and any of the components that you place into that region will be the same across any of the sub-tabs within a given workspace. So for example, if you're looking at a case and then you switch over and are looking at a knowledge article or the account, you'd still be able to see the highlights of the case there if they are in that pinned region. Okay, a feature that is near and dear to my heart, something I really love, is our dynamic lightning pages capability. This feature we first introduced a couple releases ago, giving you the ability to dynamically control the appearance of components on your record pages. Well, with the spring release, we've expanded that now, and it works on all page types with different types of context. So for record pages, it can now even span to your related records. So on the opportunity, if you want to only show it if the account is based in the United States, great. You can actually make that conditional without needing to add a formula field to your opportunity to reference back to the account object. You can also now tap into the user context. So fields from your user object, including custom fields, can be used to control the appearance of components. It's a great way to customize for the home page, for example. And then app pages, which are long been available on Lightning Experience as well as Salesforce Mobile, you can now conditionally control the appearance of components by form factor. So if you only want something to show up on the phone, you have control over that now. And then finally, this concept of making the app builder into a true app builder. Some of us have joked for a while of, why did we name it app builder if it was a tool for editing Lightning pages? And I've always asked everybody to give me a little patience, to please wait. The time will come, and it has now come with Spring, is that we've integrated app settings into the app builder. So you now have the ability to access any of the settings from your application right from within the app builder. But you also have the ability to switch between multiple different pages. So without needing to leave the tool, you can actually go and edit multiple different pages. And so with that, I think we should take a look at it in action. Let's try this out. Okay, hopefully everyone can see my screen now. And here we are. We're inside a org that I have customized for this particular fictional electric car company called Electron Motors. And we're starting out here on the home page. What you might notice is that this home page looks a little bit different than your standard home page. It's been heavily customized. In fact, I want to go in and customize it a little bit further, because one of the things that I'm seeing here is that on the far right corner here, it's telling me company party Friday at 4:30 p.m. in the lobby. Well, that's really exciting. Everyone loves a company party. But if you're not based in the headquarters office, then you're probably going to feel like you're missing out, and you don't want to be reminded of the fun that you're not getting to have. So let's talk about how we can use the power of dynamic lightning pages to make that a little bit smarter. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to, instead of just going and editing the page directly, I'm going to jump over here to setup real quickly, because I want to show you that from the app manager, what I have is some new capability here. So if I go in now and find my Electron service application, which the app we were looking at, and I select the edit option, what we'll see now is something completely different than we had prior to Spring. Is that when I select edit for this app, what you'll notice is that in fact, it launched the Lightning app builder, but it's not the app builder that you would have expected. It's not taking me first into a page editing mode, but I'm here inside the app settings. So I can control the branding of the application. I can decide what items need to be in this particular application. But I also have access to this pages menu up here at the top that now gives me access to all of the pages that are linked into this particular application. I can even instead choose to see it, instead of by page type, by last modified. So I have some different ways of viewing the information. But what I want to do is I want to jump into that home page now, because I want to edit that. So here we are. We've opened the home page, and we're seeing that same message that we saw before, that the company party is Friday at 4 p.m. in the lobby. Well, I don't think we want that to show up for everybody. So what we're going to do now is we're going to use the power of dynamic lightning pages to make that conditional. And this is on the home page. So we have some new filters that we can use. So instead of it being based on a record data, what I want to do is I want to select this is based from the user. And in this particular case, I've gone and added a custom field to my user object called office location. And now I can use that office location pick list field here to allow me to say that this component should only show if the office location is equal to the headquarters office. In other words, don't show me this component any other time. And what you'll see now is it's badged, and it's telling me that will only appear now based on that condition. Well, again, we don't want the people in HQ to be the only ones that have fun. So what we're going to do is we're going to provide an alternate message for everybody else. And the way that we're going to do that is by adding an additional component and an additional different visibility rule. So to start with, I want to duplicate this component. So I want to use the copy paste capabilities inside of App Builder. And I'm just going to go ahead and copy and then paste that component. So we've now duplicated it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the message. So instead of saying that the company party's in the lobby, how about we instead tell everybody that they can go and create their own party? So if they're not in the office, they can make their own party and expense a happy hour. Well, now all we need to do is change the visibility filter. In other words, in this case, instead of it being when it's equal to HQ, we want this message to show up when it's not equal to HQ. So just like that, what we've done now is we have two components. One that's saying, when I'm in the headquarters office, tell me about the party at 4 p.m. But when I'm not in the office, tell me how I can go and make my own party. And so just like that, we've been able to use the power of dynamic lightning pages to ensure that everybody gets a meaningful and contextual experience there. So we'll go ahead and we'll save our page. And all we need to do is jump back over here, refresh our home page. And in fact, it's going to look the same because it expects that I'm in the office, but what you'll notice is that I'm not seeing two components there. So just like that, we've been able to really get a sense for the power of dynamic lightning pages, the holistic experience of App Builder with the spring release. And with that, I'd love to hand it over to Michael White, because Michael's got some really exciting things that they're doing at Varex, and I think can really show you this in action in terms of how they're using it for their work. So, Michael?
Great, thanks, Eric. It's really exciting to see the new features that are now available to admins and app builders as part of this Spring 18 release. Certainly looking forward to what may be coming down the road in the summer release in the near future. Hello, everybody. My name is Michael White. I'm a Salesforce analyst here at Varex Imaging. Varex is the world's largest independent supplier of medical X-ray tubes and image processing solutions. Now, our components are used by imaging system manufacturers, medical, cargo, border security solutions that are used by our customers across the world. Salesforce is a strategic platform here at Varex. It helps drive our sales and service teams to better engage with our customers, coordinate development and delivery of new products, and to initiate service and support engagements for those products. We've got a small internal team, 2 admins and a developer. They're based here in Salt Lake City, and we sort of collaboratively develop solutions that help our customers get the most out of the Salesforce platform. So working sessions with our business users to fine-tune the record detail pages and some of the other UI customizations that I'll show here in just a few moments. We made Lightning Experience available to all of our users in 2017 and then made that the default after the summer release. So our users are now familiar with and able to take benefit of some of the enhancements that are now available in Lightning that weren't necessarily available in Classic. As part of our switch to Lightning, we spent time working with our power users and our business sponsors to make sure that our business processes and the Salesforce configurations were in alignment. So that meant looking at how they sell, how they use the system, and also sort of the normal pieces like making sure the opportunity pipelines and cycles and stages were in alignment with the way that they sell and engage with the customers. During one of these working sessions, we uncovered a business that our sales teams have been managing completely outside of Salesforce, using a variety of paper forms, email messages, and spreadsheets in order to track certain requests. Now, as part of our product development with our customers, our account managers will request demo and evaluation units for our customer products. That helps our customers verify their engineering and development processes. And so having the ability to request this on behalf of their customers is key to our sales pipeline. Now, this particular process was managed, as I indicated earlier, completely on paper. So our account managers would have to fill out a Word or a PDF form, right, and submit that information to our sales administration team, right? And from there, they would pass the information off to the appropriate people for executive sign-off and fulfillment and tracking and things like that. So this made a number of challenges in terms of, if I'm the account manager, making sure that I provided the right information to my team. It made it difficult to find where I had provided the request information and had it approved and did this ship to the customer. This patchwork of spreadsheets and email alerts and reminders made for a less than optimal customer experience. So One of the ways that we looked at addressing this was to look at the functionality available in Salesforce and look at ways that we could use those tools to bring this process into Salesforce and increase visibility across the organization, look at leveraging automation options for like approval processes to perform the sign-offs and the executive approval of this request information in Salesforce. And then leverage the related features in Lightning record pages and be able to use reports and dashboards to help track our engagement points around key dates for when the product needed to be returned or if it needed to be invoiced and items like that. So there were solutions that we took to answer every one of those things, and we found it relatively easy to leverage a variety of Salesforce solutions to address each one of these components. I will say that I think our sales teams were a little skeptical at how it would take, what it would take to do this. But I think I'll show you here in a demo in just a moment that leveraging features that I think many of us admins are already familiar with and adding those things, layering them together can allow us to create robust Salesforce-based solutions to address any number of business challenges and move those processes into Salesforce and overall simplify the management and tracking of those features. So we had a short list of things that we wanted to address specific to moving this from manual into Salesforce. And I'll talk about that here just briefly. From a high level, we had challenges of we wanted to provide a central place for the request information to go. We wanted to get it out of paper, off of people's desks, out of people's email inboxes, and put that into Salesforce. We wanted to, as part of the rollout, replace the simplicity of a paper form with functionality in Salesforce. Along with that, again, provide a method for our executive teams to approve the request without someone in the office physically hand-carrying the paper around. And give our users the ability to see the current request status. As a global organization, it was something of a challenge to have to call and email and keep up with, finally really push the organization to figure out where the information was at. And surfacing that in Salesforce where they're already working was a natural fit. Of course, we wanted to eliminate the manual tracking of key dates and milestones so that we could leverage automation to provide reminders and at key engagement points and drive this customer satisfaction to a higher level through this process. So with that, let me jump into the demo and show you a few of the features that we employed to develop the solution. And here we go. So as part of our objective to replace the paper process, we wanted to figure out how could we make it easy. Obviously, there's very few things simpler than filling out a paper form and passing it off to somebody else. So one way that we looked at doing that in Salesforce and what we achieved at was to create a Lightning flow that we embedded, launched via a quick action to collect just the information that the users needed in order to fill out the request form. Sure, we could have gone to a new custom object and let them create the record, but we found issues in the past, users being confused, and it was a little difficult. The learning curve was a lot higher. So let me show you what we've done here. You'll see that in the screen, we've got a record, an account detail page, and we've got a consignment request quick action showing up in the top of the page. If I'm the sales account manager, I can click this button and begin the process of fulfilling the request form. Now, we're pre-filling some of this information from pick list values and dynamically populating key contacts around our sales operations users in the list below. So the salesperson just goes through, verifies that these values match their needs, and hit next to continue. From here, they'll fill out the rest of the information in the request form just the same way they would on paper. So they'll put in the customer's purchase order number, and I'll put some sample data in here as part of it, the number of days that the customer will have the product, the length of the demo evaluation period, and we can apply business rules here so that if we only have allow 90 days, that we can use visual flows, Lightning flows, validation options to limit that number on the data input, and we'll put some of the sample products that we have here and some sample numbers here as well. And this is a process that the teams were doing on paper and just sort of passing off and hoping for the best. Now, you can see that from the screen, relatively simple. I don't have to go open a PDF, print that out, email it, scan it back in. I can just hit next. The user will get a confirmation of all the information that they've submitted, along with information about what happens next. If this information is correct, I, as a sales user, would just hit next. And the information behind the scenes using technology and Lightning Flow is going to handle the rest of the work for me. So what just happened was the information that I supplied was used to create a new record in that custom object. And because Lightning Flow has the ability to automatically initiate an approval process, we've passed that data off to the appropriate approvers. They now receive chatter emails, chatter messages, and email alerts that they have actions that they need to take. So with that in mind, we've also added a link to the new record based on feedback from our users. They liked having access to the request record so that they could go in and add it to their favorites. That made it easy for them to come back and check on the status once it had been approved, and meant they didn't have to go to the home page and search for their record. So they're using that feature fairly regularly. So here's a look at the home page of the record that was just created. And you'll see here that we've got a number of items on the page that are a little bit different than maybe what comes out of the box on a standard record detail page. A lot of this started from wanting to make sure that our users understood where this request was in the overall lifecycle process. So we implemented the path component and added that front and center at the top of the page. That made it easy for all of our users to open a record, quickly identify where it was, and understand what should happen next. So for those of you not using path on custom objects, if the particular data in that object has a lifecycle, I would definitely recommend looking at that, figuring out how to work that into your page layouts and help your users understand what's happening at any given time. Let's call out a couple other features that we added after we initially introduced the module based on feedback from our users. Now, you'll notice at the top of the screen, we've got a number of quick actions here. When we first introduced this to our sales operations users, who are the downstream users that now manage the data in Salesforce, they were a little unsure about when they needed to add certain values and advance the stage to the appropriate information. And since we're using the stage for email reminders and other automation actions, it was important that they understand that they set the value correctly. So what we've done is look at how they engage with this record and created quick actions that made it easy for them to update the information at the right time. So let me show you a record that I think that has probably been approved by the users. And here we go. There's the right tab. Anyway, it's been approved. If I'm the salesperson and I've marked this as the sales operations person, I bring up the record and let's say I need to enter this as marked as invoice, meaning the customer has opted to keep it. These quick actions are using custom layout fields, so it's only prompting our sales operations user for the information that they need to enter at the time they're working on it. So if I want to mark this as invoiced, according to our business process, I'm going to put in the invoice number, the invoice date, and some additional notes related to the invoice so that the account manager is updated and up to date on what has happened with this and ensure that this is handled appropriately. So quick actions are a great way to help engagement-based data input and management, and something that you should probably look at to help your users manage records in the system. Now, looking at the rest of the detail page, I'll show a few items that we've implemented here. In addition to customizing a few of the overall layout options and including path, we've got a dynamic component right there in the middle of the page. We've added a tab control and along with some additional information to help the user viewing the record understand what the current state is and provide them some instructions on what to expect next, or if there are specific engagement steps that they need to take, how to go about that and what they should be doing. Additionally, using some of the standard report chart components now available in App Builder to quickly surface how many days remaining. I think eventually this will be replaced with a simpler Lightning component that our development team will be building. But it was great to help our users identify how many days were left. Now, this is all pulling from information further down in the record. They could find that, but we found that our users really love visuals. It draws their attention right to the important information. All right, so customizing the record detail. Let's show you how we're using some of these dynamic components as well. Now, as Eric showed the Lightning App Builder UI just a few moments ago, you'll see here that there's a number of features that we've enabled that are dynamic. We're using component visibility to surface certain components at a certain time. So you'll see here that, as I mentioned, the tab set in the middle has a number of rich text controls underneath it. And each one of these rich text controls has a related filter status that makes this particular record element visible based on the stage or criteria associated with the record. For instance, if we're nearing the end of the evaluation period, we want to show a message to the user that, hey, this is approaching the end date. Let's make sure that we set the user up to either return the product or invoicing process so that that's handled appropriately. Our finance guys really love that. The finance team, I think, is really happy to have that type of functionality available today. And of course, there's a number of options that you as admins can go customize and build to fit solutions for your businesses using the same functionality. The thing that's great about component visibility is it's simple. If you can build a list view or build a report, the filtering functionality is very similar. So common functions that I think many admins use today can certainly leverage this ability today. And of course, we got some other customizations here that really help the users in reducing the amount of clicks. We've added the files component to the record detail page, pulled it out of the related list. Now you can do that by using the related list single option, dragging it to the appropriate place on the page, and then picking which object you want it to surface. And at that point, you save the record and then apply additional component visibility if you'd like, and it updates it on the record. So there's a number of things that I'm sure admins can look at ways to use Lightning to help drive innovation and build business process-based solutions in Salesforce beyond just your core CRM, these items which may support those processes. So from our perspective, a lot of these Lightning-ready tools have been fantastic in providing us with the ability to deliver valuable solutions to our business teams. And with that, I'll return the slide to everybody else.
All right, Mike, that was awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. So we wanted to kind of wrap up with some resources for you and maybe one question. So wanted to remind you, this is actually the start of a very exciting Be a Builder campaign that we're launching officially tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific time. It's a 10-day learning adventure, a short little video series, and at the very end, you'll be able to build your own business app from start to finish. So be sure to look on admin.salesforce.com or use that bit.ly. You can be a builder. There is a Lightning App Builder Trailhead module, which is fantastic. You'll learn all of the things that you just saw today in the webinar from Eric and Mike. And there's an entire trail about making the move to Lightning Experience. So if you're still in Classic and you're wondering, hey, this looks really cool, how do I get my hands on it and use it? That's the trail you need to take. Now, we do have one question I think would be really beneficial. Eric, real quick, can you talk about visibility? Can you put visibility on any component in the App Builder?
Absolutely. You know, that's the beauty of the way we built that feature, is that it works with any component, whether it's a standard component from Salesforce, a custom component you build yourself, or a component you get off of AppExchange. They're all able to be used with the visibility filters. Admins do it right from within App Builder and assign it just like that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So if you have more questions, be sure to post them in the webinar group. We are there answering them live right now. You're going to get a survey from GoToMeeting following the end of this webinar. We'd love to hear your feedback, especially tell us what you loved, because I'm sure there was a lot of it. Make us look good. And you will be able to get the slides from this webinar at the bit.ly mentioned there as well, App Builder webinar. All of the resources, including the recording, will be available at admin.salesforce.com, so make sure you check it out. Huge thanks to Eric and Mike for joining us today, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to learn more about how you can be a builder.